Hello, everybody. Welcome to Munro Live podcast. My name is John, and I am here with Alex Parker from Redline Detection. And this is great to have you on. I mean, we've been looking forward to doing this now, I guess, for over a year, and it's happening. So I'm going to jump right in. Huh?
It's happening.
It's happening. Isn't that cool?
We're on.
So I'm going to jump right in with your background. If you could give us some of your information, that would be great.
Yeah, I am a seventh generation Californian, long line of entrepreneurs, and a lot of technical background. And when we reached a point where air quality and emissions really came on the radar and got serious, this industry was an opportunity to work in a fascinating technical space and make a difference as well. And huge plus, I'm a lifelong car girl. So in my role here as president at Redline, I get to do the most amazing, cool car things.
Oh my gosh. Yeah, I've also said or read that you unveiled the Scorpion 600 a few years ago too at a trade show. That's cool.
Yes. Yeah. I think you probably know our friends there. We've got a lot of friends in common. And I saw that you interviewed RJ Scaringe. We work with Rivian and a lot of really fascinating people. So thank you so much for having me on. I'm in great company and thrilled to be here.
Oh, you're so welcome. Thank you for joining. So I'm going to ask you probably a question that you've been asked many, many times. What inspired you to join this particular company, Redline Detection, several years ago?
Redline is an American manufacturer. I'm so proud to be an American manufacturer. And we have taken a leadership role from the beginning in both internal combustion and now EV diagnostics. We're really doing important work here. We're making a big difference in the lives of technicians, in OEs, in the aftermarket. We are deeply involved, most people don't know, in heavy duty, marine, aviation. In fact, here's a fun fact. Did you know that every single branch of the US military and NASA all use Redline technology?
Oh, that's awesome.
I can't tell you how, because then they'd have to kill me. But I'm just really proud to be a part of the organization, and we have the best team in the business.
That's awesome. And you're spearheading all the activity, right?
That's my job here.
That's cool. Where's all your equipment produced? I know it's in the USA, but is it produced behind you in that facility that you're at?
I'm right here in my office today.
Yeah, that's your storage. Yeah.
Yeah, exactly. This is what it looks like. We're in manufacturing. It's not, glamorous. But we're here in Orange, California, and it's a fantastic place to do business. Tons of great skilled labor. And here in our building, we design, engineer, procure to, manufacture, produce all of our equipment.
Wow.
And we export to 160 countries around the world.
Wow. If you look at your overall product line, how many make parts do you have compared to buy parts?
It varies dramatically. One of the great things about being in this area is I think because the aerospace industry and so much technology is born here, is that we have top-notch, top quality suppliers in a really nice satellite setup. So the advantages of being an American manufacturer flow to our customers in such a direct way. So, I can walk from my office out here into our factory and make a running change, make a running improvement. If an OE calls us and God forbid they have a spill, they have an issue, we can walk over to the engineering building and in a matter of hours, sometimes, days or hours, we can respond with a proposed solution. We can create a 3D prototype print of it, send it for validation. And so our iteration and innovation cycle is really tight, and you can't get that manufacturing anyplace else.
No, you can't. That's some serious compressed timing there. I think that's awesome. I think that's why the business has grown a lot since you've been there. So if you take a step back at where you guys were before you started and where you're at now, and you look at it, the overall aggregate, like, hey, this is where we were when you first started working there, and this is where we're at now from different countries. Where were you at back then compared to where you're at now?
Really, really, really small, local, regionalized manufacturer. And we started doing licensed product for most of the aftermarket. If you see equipment out there in, smoke machine diagnostic leak detector segment that's made in America, it's made by Redline. And so we see a lot of different brands that we make, and we do a terrific job. We have a key competency in understanding what different customers' needs and markets are, and either developing unique features or making it more streamlined, elegant, lean, depending on what their needs are. And so that really gave us the bandwidth to grow and to make the necessary investments to begin to work with the OEs. And Redline has been for many years now the leader in our space in internal combustion with automakers. So, we are that trusted resource. We're that trusted partner that we've been doing essential tool programs and developing solutions for major US and international automakers for over a decade. So when it came time then to develop their procedures and their programs and choose equipment for their EV programs, Redline was the one who got the call, right? Because it's not just either internal combustion or EV, it's leak detection of all kinds.
Is some of your stuff actually put on the assembly line on the end of robot arms?
Yeah, absolutely. Well, not exactly on the end of robot arms, no. So, but our equipment is being used everywhere from end of line testing,
Okay.
through a lot of battery labs, through root cause analysis,
Okay.
as well as in every dealer location around the globe in 160 countries for a number of large OEMs,
I think that's
and
awesome.
in collision as well. So we really took what is basically lab grade equipment that can test that level and put it in a durable
Yep. Housing.
situation,
Yep.
right? So that it's a durable housing, so that it's mobile. We have some organizations that make supercars who actually fly with our equipment. They have flying spanners who fly around the world, going to Saudi Arabia or wherever they're going, to go out and service vehicles that carry our equipment with them. So that's how portable it is, and
Routine
and so
maintenance.
yeah, exactly.
Yeah. How cool is that? That's really good. How many of these countries do you visit?
Me personally, I have some favorites, I have to tell you. I just got back. I mean, I just love going out and doing this. I love meeting with our customers. I feel so lucky to get to go places like the UK. We have customers we've become good friends with. Go to Switzerland. I got to go to Ferrari last year. That was such a blast. And just recently came back from Stuttgart and got to go peak experience. If you ever have the opportunity, I got to go behind the scenes on the 9/11 assembly line.
Oh,
And I can't say anything else about it other than just to say, I dream experience, if you're a car person.
you can't tell me just a little bit?
I can tell you this, it's more impressive than you think.
Oh my goodness. I can only imagine. How long were you there?
Just a couple days,
Okay. How much time did you spend behind the scenes?
a day.
A day? A whole day
Yeah,
on the
it was
911. Oh,
pretty amazing.
you're
So
seeing such
I
spectacularly awesome things.
highly recommend. I also, if you're out here in the Los Angeles area, John, you really have to make a stop at the Peterson Automotive Museum. It's something we're really proud of here. And of course, you've got Porsche Experience Center LA right down the road, which is a peak car experience too. So, come on out and do some fun car things in California.
I know, I know. Okay, I'll pack my bags. I'll see you Monday. I can get a whole tour of your facility too. How big is your facility?
Well, we're growing really fast. I can't even tell you. We just added another building. So for us, when we were in internal combustion, right? We basically went from an analog tool company
Yeah.
and very successful. We were absolutely the leaders in the field in creating diagnostic leak detection for internal combustion engines, and and doing just a terrific business. And there's a real there's there's a real art to knowing when to lean into new technology, right? When do you pivot into an entirely new area of technology? So there's part of it's art for sure. Part of it is understanding markets. There's a lot of science to it, right? Understanding when our OE is going to get to the point where they're ready to start really servicing these vehicles. What's the critical mass? How many vehicles need to be on the road before they really turn their attention to this problem? Um, and then there's a part that's just magic 8 ball, right? And you just make all of your best estimates and go from there. So I'll tell you, 10 years ago, I developed a product with one of our engineers that it was like the first EV battery enclosure testing tool, and it was pre-production and it was pre-market. No one could care less. No one was ready for it. They were like, we're so far away from even thinking about how we're going to do this, right?
Yeah. Yeah.
So on a shelf it went in the product museum. And then when the world shut down during COVID, the time was right. And suddenly there was a shift, right? And automakers were making the big investments. And we could see that the time was right to be first in that space. So when the rest of the world shut down, we doubled down. We added a whole nother, doubled our size, whole nother building, a whole new staff of software engineers, R&D, and made just an enormous, really super scary investment into developing our EV diagnostic technology, which the timing was right. The timing was right because within 24 months, we had, I can't even tell you how many OEs that made our equipment essential, but we were in 160 countries at every dealer location within 24 months. And it was exciting to say the least. Exciting.
How did you balance all that risk throughout this huge transformation? Because this is a big deal. A lot of moving parts.
A lot of moving parts. So two things. One, fear is my morning coffee. There is nothing that focuses one, like being absolutely terrified. And so, you start and you do all the assessment. You can analyze it to death, right? I come from a research background. I tend to be very analytical, and then you just have to go.
Yeah.
And you have to just take that step.
Yeah.
I take very, very seriously that there are a lot of employees who rely upon me, their families rely upon me, the suppliers that make our components rely upon me to make good decisions, to continue to create a path for growth. So I'll be honest and say that, a lot of sleepless nights that go into deciding when to make that kind of investment and pivot. And at the same time, innovation is the business that we're in. And if you're not innovating and taking risk, you're going to get left on the side of the road.
Absolutely. If you look at your overall revenue, how much of that is dedicated to research and development towards developing new products or improving the existing product line?
I'm not sure that I can comment on that, but I will tell you that in the very short time that we have been in the market with our EV diagnostics, the second year out, it comprised approximately half of the company revenue.
Oh, wow. Okay.
So that's the rate at which it's growing.
Okay. Yeah, I was only looking for a percentage, not a money amount. Okay. The question you probably heard from different people that are providing the financial backing for Redline. Where do you see yourself 5 years? Where do you see yourself in 3 years? Where do you see yourself in 5 years? Are you still going to be at the helm?
Redline, what you're going to see in this next year in 25, and I wish that I could share names today. We're not quite there, but you're going to hear some very big announcements about partnerships and product that we're creating, and you're going to see our EV diagnostic range expanding pretty dramatically. You're also going to see deeper and broader penetration for us in our other markets, in transport, in marine, in aviation, and it's going to be a really fun next couple of years.
Is your product actually on the water on boats right now?
So it's not on board diagnostics. So it is used on both marine large scale engines. So for instance, like Caterpillar Marine, that is marine towing and these massive size engines, as well as electric boats.
Oh, wow. Electric boats. Have you ridden on one yet?
I haven't, but I'm down. Let's go.
I think we both should do that soon. I think that would be really cool. um, I was in Asia before this particular job, and I saw your product. I didn't realize what it was. I noticed it in several different places in several different locations in Asia, and it wasn't until I was asked to interview you, and I read about your company, and I saw your product line, smoke detectors, on your website. It's like, hey, I've seen that before in multiple locations, halfway around the world.
Is that right?
Yeah, that's cool. These were battery factories too.
Okay.
RJ from Rivian, he does use that stuff in his factories.
So Rivian, again, I want to be really sensitive to, speaking out of turn with our OE partners, but Rivian does use our equipment through development, manufacture, and is at all of their locations globally.
Okay. Hey, what is the working principle behind some of your equipment? Let's just say the smoke detector, for example.
Yeah, just how it works really. Well, let me give you a couple of examples then. So really you can think of Redline as just being the leader in any type of diagnostic leak detection.
Okay.
Now, we create different strategies and different technology for different applications because it's not one size fit all, or my life would be really easy. So, for instance, in an question, a boosted, say a turbo system, then a technician will use Redline's, as you said, smoke machine, high pressure. You see a lot of them behind me here.
Yep,
We
I
make
do.
them. Most of the big automakers use this technology, and the reason they use it is because you have here a piece of equipment that can simulate the boost load of a running engine with the engine safely off for a technician to test. So they use visual vapor, and it opens up faults, cracks, broken components that only open under pressure, right? This is just basic engineering.
Yep.
And so you can see with this visual vapor in a matter of under 10 minutes without doing a whole engine teardown, it's an enormous time savings. And you have a guarantee you're fixing, right? The first time, no part starts, right? But in EV, visual vapor is not the right application. So we developed our BCLD, or battery and coolant leak detector technology. That the big deal on this is we own the patent on the ability to not only tell you if there is a leak in a CLDV system, whether it's a battery enclosure or a battery arterial coolant system, which, as you know, John, can be incredibly complex and difficult to find problems in, will not only tell you if you do have a leak, but can exactly pinpoint where that leak is. So this equipment creates its own forming gas, and we can, depending upon the automaker's needs, use different kinds of forming gases. And as you're well aware, coming from the battery space, battery enclosures must be safely sealed to manufacturer's standard, right?
Absolutely. Yep.
This is a safety issue, and yet they go through the installation process, transportation or towing, a lot of road wear. If you drive like I do, you probably hit a curb now and again. I'm in a hurry. I got places to go, John. And small collisions, right? And so you get a certain amount of torsion and you get these small impacts. And over time, you're going to have leaks in the battery enclosure, the seal, or the coolant system. And what we know is that those will diminish the state of health of the battery. They will lower the vehicle value because the battery is the value, right? And in a worst case scenario, you're going to have a catastrophic thermal runaway when you get intrusion of water, salt, or road debris.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
So this is very important work we're doing.
It is, and I think it's unfortunately what happened with the pandemic for others help spur your business into massive growth, which I think is very cool.
We didn't miss a single day during the pandemic. I'm proud to say we really dug in and we took a lot of safety measures for our team members and really just supported them when they needed it. And it was it was a terrible time, and yet it was also a time that we all had the ability to dig in and pay attention to what matters and we did that for growth.
Yeah, under your leadership and vision too, by the way, Alex. Um, can you disclose perhaps how many people you have working there?
So in my building, we've got about 50 people in my building here.
Okay,
And then, we have other locations as well.
okay. Supplier base is vast too as well, so you're not only um, doing things to help grow your business within, but also supplier base from outside. That's good. How far do you go for parts? Can you disclose that? For example, do you have any parts built? You said that all of your product is built in the United States. Are some of the product built in the Northeast or the North, or in the Southeast or the Northeast of the country?
We have supplier vendors that are really everywhere.
Okay.
And, I think I mean, Munro is like, the one of my inspirations for lean manufacturing,
Yeah,
right? It's
absolutely.
important to have second sources. It's important to make sure that our procurement is uninterrupted.
Yep.
And I really enjoyed the recent interview with RJ Scaringe when he talked about building to a bomb and how it really, for their new vehicle, they backed into what the market wanted, what they knew the market was looking for. In his case, it was price. In our case, oftentimes it's a new technology or a new procedure that needs to be supported, and then really challenge their engineers and designers to build to that. And it spurs innovation,
Yes.
right? Sometimes when we have these limitations, it can really spur, I think, the brightest ideas.
Absolutely. And when you're looking at diagnostic equipment such as what you provide, there's an entirely different level of qualification for the supplier base too, as well.
Yeah, you're so right about that. You're so right about that. Yeah. And we work closely with our suppliers too, John. And we are not in the business of sending parts back, right? And we're in the business of coming alongside them. I just had a meeting yesterday where we talked about all the things that we're doing to help our suppliers to produce to our standards.
Okay, good, good. um, your supplier base is pretty vast, and you have a lot of different parts, I would imagine, in your devices.
Complex equipment. There are a lot of
Oh,
parts.
absolutely. So they're tested before they come in. Well, they go through outgoing quality checks before they come into your facility. Do you trust your supplier base enough where you don't have to run through incoming quality checks, or you just spot check those?
Trust and validate.
Yep. Trust and validate.
Very,
Good.
very high trust. And also, we're humans, right? And so we have a very comprehensive QC and validation at not only at incoming, but at subcomponent levels of our manufacturing, of course, extensive at end of line. So we want to make sure that what we're sending out there is absolutely the best quality. And that's part of what is defined as being an American manufacturer, right?
Absolutely. I think this segues into SEMA. So I've read several articles and seen some video of you there accepting the award. How cool is that? Can you give us a little bit of flavor of what you felt?
Yeah, so we were the SEMA Manufacturer of the Year. I got to be the lucky person who got handed the award, but this doesn't speak to me. This speaks to the team at
The
Redline.
team, yeah.
You've been to SEMA, right? I mean, SEMA is just astonishing. There's nothing like it, and the SEMA member companies who exhibit at SEMA are the most innovative, resilient, creative. And so it's particularly exciting to be named that SEMA Manufacturer of the Year, because these are the people who do what we do, and they really understand deeply the challenges that are unique to our industry. And they're pretty amazing. I have tremendous respect for our industry. So our whole team at Redline was really thrilled by that.
How many other companies were up for that award during that same time?
Gosh, I don't know. We could ask SEMA.
Okay, that's your homework. Okay.
Okay, I'll find out.
So I noticed some trophies behind you. I think those are trophies on the
Yeah,
top shelf.
we've got a few few things like that. We're always really grateful for that kind of acknowledgement. John, being a manufacturer, it's and you'll get this. Oftentimes we just put our heads down and work.
Yeah.
And so when these things come up now and again, it's a delight and surprise. And I tend to sort of say, "I'm sorry, do you have the right number? Are you sure? Are you sure you're all the right person?" So we're thrilled when we get that kind of acknowledgement. And the team here, I just can't say enough about our team at Redline. I mean, every step of the way, from every part of the business, they are just absolutely top of their field, and also the nicest people you could ever meet. So I hope you do come and do a tour one day, because we would love that. And we always love welcoming industry partners. I'll tell you something that came up this morning as we were talking through adding some team members. And that is that, we hire differently than we used to, because the speed of knowledge acquisition has increased, has accelerated to such a degree that you really can no longer just hire for knowledge.
Yeah.
And so for me, when I look at our best team members, they were hired for professional curiosity. They're people who are engaged. They're fascinated. They want to know more, right? They want to learn more. They come back to you with additional ideas that are beyond, right? And if you get someone with that level of professional curiosity, they're always going to be staying ahead of the curve. If you hire someone for their present day knowledge, that's going to be stale. That's going to be outdated by next year, right?
Absolutely. Yes. Or somebody complacent with where they're at currently.
Good point.
Do you tend to hire your employees more local than outside of the area?
We've done both. We certainly love hiring local, but there's sometimes that people have an expertise that isn't right here in the area. This year, we moved our engineering manager from Detroit out to California. He's a motorcyclist, so he's having a great time being able to ride year round. And so occasionally, yeah, we do. We certainly extend our reach, because we're really looking for just the people who meet our culture and our love of what we do, and the knowledge component, as well as that professional curiosity.
Yeah, nice. I think I read about him recently on your news. Isn't he from this area? Isn't he from Troy area? Went to Oakland University, or
Yeah,
that's the same guy? Okay. Yeah.
Kincaid. Yeah, exactly. Terrific guy. And we have a number of people that work for us that have been sort of through working with the really big, the big manufacturers in our industry, and they always bring a great, unique perspective as well. So I'm a big believer in having as diverse a team as we can in the room. What I've seen is, and again, I come from that kind of analytical perspective, the more diverse the conversation, if you get people who come from, this person was a technician, and this person is an R&D, and this person is a mechanical engineer, and this person is, in automotive markets, right? You get a much more robust solution. You get people who have polite disagreements, who see it from different perspectives, and you end up with solutions that are just much better.
I've always thought that reasonable conflict was the best medicine for success. And you said it differently, but you're correct. You're gonna reach disagreements, but at the end of the day, you're gonna find something that probably will work better. Um, so You have a lot of excitement, a lot of energy just flowing through the screen looking at me. I think that's awesome. And it spills over to the youth. And one of the things I read about you that I really, really like is how your involvement with the STEM program. And it sounds to me like you dedicate a great deal of your time as the president of the company, where you're very busy, to the young future, engineers of our country. I mean, tell me a little bit about what you do there. That's important.
Thank you for the compliment, first of all. So I have personally had 115 mentee interns that I've worked directly with. And I started about 10 years ago our internship program at Redline. And every summer, we bring in interns across various parts of the business, certainly a lion's share in engineering, but also in marketing and videography and accounting and um, lean and the procurement and manufacturing. So they range from late high school through college graduates. We've had a couple of grad students, but typically later college. And we bring them in and we take really seriously. They're paid internships. And when I was in college, I didn't have the opportunity to do internships because I had to work. I was putting myself through college. And so I really love having the opportunity to help these young people get a great start in their professional life. What we know is that research tells us that the number one factor in getting a job that you love in the field that you want to be in is having experience in that field. How do you get that first experience? Nobody will give it to you. So we bring in our interns, we set up very distinct projects for them. They're responsible for reporting. They work with multidisciplinary teams across the business. And what I oftentimes hear people say is, gosh, that sounds like a lot of work, right? On my part. There's some work setting it up, but I can tell you without hesitation that the interns deliver more value than they do cost on every level. And we had 14 interns last summer, which is I think the largest group that we've ever had. And they contributed so much value, and many of these are just absolutely brilliant kids, and they don't come with a perspective of, well, that's not the way business does it, or we tried that. They come with a perspective of, let's try it, right? And so it's just really fulfilling. And John, if you ever want to restore your faith in humanity, come and meet the interns because they are so bright. They're fascinating. They're fun. And it's just one of my favorite things that we do. We also support other like technical training programs. Redline has a program where we support technical training schools and automotive programs with equipment and donations every year, as well as SAE and the SEMA student programs too.
Oh, that's awesome. I, I always like and enjoy my time working with the youth as well, the interns. And it's like you say, you give them something to do. There's always an avenue for an idea that will work, or maybe not necessarily work, but you build upon that idea and then you have something at the end of the day that does actually work. And you also try to tell them, which I think you probably do, is you tell them to work smart, specific, measurable, achievable, realistic, and time bound, that acronym, which is part of the lean methodology as well. But I think that's fascinating.
It's also, John, it is a really effective pipeline for developing employees as well. So, we oftentimes, the best and the brightest interns, we invite back to work for us in subsequent seasons or once they graduate.
How many of those return interns do you have on staff right now, would you say?
Only a couple right now. We have had over the years kind of, a few in different departments. A lot of our interns here end up wanting to some stay automotive. I've got two right now that work for Singer, the Porsche
Yeah.
house here. So we've got a number that are around town. I've got one I think that's with Mazda or Kia right now. So we've got a number that are around right here. We end up with quite a few who want to do want to work in rockets. I can think of 3 or 4 that went to work for the US government doing fascinating things. So, yeah, and we're in touch with almost all of it.
That's great too. And when you're out and about and you guys cross paths, there's good, solid conversation too, I
Oh my
think.
God, it's the best. It's
Oh,
the
that's
best.
fast. That's a good feeling, isn't it?
It is. It's really fun. I'm really fortunate to get to do the work that I do and work with the team here that I do.
I'm surprised you have so much time, Alex, to do all the things that I've read about you and heard about you. So that's awesome. I don't even know. You said you lost sleep in the past as you're growing the business. You're still growing the business. I don't even know how you have time to sleep with all the stuff you do, regardless.
Well, I mean, what are you going to give up? It's all really fantastic, right?
Oh, it
So
is. It is.
it's it's really fun, and the next couple of years are just going to accelerate as we continue to grow and do even more.
So some of the other things you do as a celebrity judge at SEMA. I mean, how is that? That's got to be really cool. You're up on stage. You're actually there. I've seen pictures, and you're the focal point with a team of others.
Getting to be a celebrity, that sounds so silly, doesn't it? Like celebrity judge. Getting to be a judge on Launchpad with SEMA, what a peak experience, because these um, these contestants are people who have inventions or products that they want to bring to market, and they walk away with $100,000. This is a big deal, as well as basically the 4 judges, right? All of our Rolodexes and anything that we can do for them. So I'm still in touch with a whole lot of the people who were contestants who have gone on to grow great businesses. In fact, one of our finalists was on Munro Live recently. Did you know this?
No.
Jake Hawksworth, who's the CEO of Hypercraft.
Oh,
And so I was really excited to watch Jake on Munro Live, and I messaged him, told him that I was going to be on. So it's really thrilling. Again, it kind of dovetails into that idea of just helping other people get a great, strong start. And of all the things that I do in my role, it's probably the thing that I enjoy most.
overall, how does it make you feel to receive all this recognition, Alex? Because you have received a lot of recognition for everything that you've done from a business standpoint and also from a personal standpoint with the youth, which is also business driven as well. But you know what I
Well,
mean?
it's really all about them, So it's always surprising to me when somebody notices what we're doing over here, and it's super gratifying. But it's all about what they're doing, and there's nothing more exciting than seeing someone that you maybe had a little small part in helping to get launched.
Well, you know what? I finished my questions with you. I think we could go on forever, actually, um, but we do have to close out the conversation, I think. But is there anything else you want to share?
No, John, I would really say this has just been such a great experience. Thank you. I think the one thing that I I would add is just that we were talking a little bit earlier about this moment that we're in. It's such an exciting moment to be developing EV diagnostics, because it's a little bit of the Wild West out there right now, and every automaker is just figuring out what their strategy is, what their procedures are going to be, how they're going to repair and maintain these vehicles. And the really big differentiator for Redline competitively is a couple things. One, we own the patents on the ability to pinpoint these leaks or faults, these problems that are so dangerous and problematic. It's a nice to have if you have a tool that can tell you have a problem, but that is not actionable data, right? If you can pinpoint precisely where that problem is, whether it's in a battery enclosure seal or within a battery coolant arterial system, now you've got actionable data. Now you can make a decision about, within 10 minutes, you have that information that would have taken hours and hours and hours of teardown, right, to get to, and very imprecise.
Yes.
So you've got data logs on it, you've got visual graphics, and you've got reports, and you can pinpoint very closely. Now you can decide, is this just a little seal that's popped and we can repair it back on the road, right? Or is this a battery? It has to be a lid off repair, has to be swapped out. These are big, costly decisions. And so having this patent on the ability to pinpoint is a game changer for our customers. Along with that, the most consequential thing that sets Redline apart has been that we were first in this space. So the Redline team, we've worked with all the automakers. We've worked with the big Detroit automakers. We've worked in Europe extensively, the legacy automakers, as well as the EV native automakers. And so we have been alongside them helping to decide how the procedures are going to work, what tools and strategies they're going to use, what kind of adapters they need. We've developed alongside them. So when we get a call now and we can come in as a trusted advisor with just a wealth and a menu of information where we can bring this whole body of knowledge along, right?
Right.
And so really it's not just the equipment we're making, it's this team and being that trusted partner that where you can come in and say, here's what other OEs are doing, and here's what works. And so we can carve years off of that development plan of how they're going to manage it. And being an American manufacturer, the ability to do rapid prototyping, the ability to make hardware changes, software changes, be really agile. So when we're working with an automaker, they come to us and say, we're adding a new vehicle type, we're adding a new battery configuration, or we want to make a testing change of some kind or a new adapter. We can respond in hours or days, and I don't know anyone else in the industry who can do that. We're effectively future proofing the technology that they're adopting. So it's a huge advantage for our automaker partners.
It's a huge advantage. And like you said earlier in the conversation, if there's an issue or non-issue, all you have to do is leave that chair, exit your office, and there's where the work or the people are at, and you can make changes rather quickly. So, you're...
Next time we do this, I'll take you on a walking tour, okay? We'll walk on down the hallway and walk through the factory. How's that sound?
Why didn't we think about that in the first place? That would be really cool. I would like that. I think the audience would like that too. Your product is compressing time to fix a problem or a potential problem. So in essence, you're looking at the overall safety, reliability, and performance of the product. And this is key from a customer standpoint: safety, performance, and reliability. You're right. The EV market is kind of like the Wild West, kind of like the college football players nil going on right now. So one day everything will stabilize and we'll have standards. But until that point in time, your equipment is going to help everything go down that road.
Well, thank you, John. It's been so great to talk to you today.
Yeah, it has, Alex, very much. So everybody that will see this particular podcast from Munro Live, I just want to say that my name is John, and I had the utmost pleasure of talking with Alex Parker from Redline Detection. And I wish you all the best, and I hopefully will see you again in the future, Alex.
Thank you, John.
Okay, you're welcome.
Look forward to talking again soon.
Okay, bye.